It is 6:01. It is Tuesday, August 25th, 2020. This is our business meeting. And at this time, we have in person here at the Joe N. Idolette Teacher Education Center, we have Mrs. Justice, Dr. Schiff, myself, and then joining us through Teams, we have Mrs. Barenborg and
Mrs. Rosario is not joining us this evening.
And Mrs. Rosario will not be joining us this evening. So at this time, if you would please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so we're going to adopt the orders of the day. I need a motion, but we need to pull item 5A, which was the special business meeting minutes. There was an error in that, and we will repost those minutes on 9/8/2020. So if we could get a motion.
Motion to approve as amended.
Okay.
Second.
Dr. Schiff, would you like to speak to your motion?
No, ma'am.
Mrs. Justice?
No, thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 4-0. All right, we are going to move into presentations, and at this time, I am going to recognize Dr. Moore for a series of presentations.
Through the chair, thank you very much. We will have a brief presentation on the opening of schools, and to kick off that presentation, I will turn it over to Ms. Maddox for a presentation.
Hi, good evening, everyone. We're really excited to debut our first day of school video. I have to give credit to Chris Heiser, who was busy running from campus to campus getting some awesome footage, and the rest of our staff members who were visiting campuses that shared pictures so that we could put this video together. And we had such a wonderful first day of school. I just think it just shows that all of the planning and preparation that took place over the last several months, it really paid off, and it was absolutely wonderful to go and to see kids just being kids on campuses, and little kindergartners still running up to you telling you what was packed in their lunch that day and their favorite snack. And it's, you just realize that, you know, this is the new normal for them right now, and their spirit is still there. And I think that this video will really capture that for you. So enjoy. That's all we have tonight. Thank you.
So just to bring this presentation to a close, yesterday was the first day of school. As Ms. Maddox referenced, there was a great deal of planning and preparation in order to ensure that we had a smooth opening. And it was, in fact, a smooth opening, so we're very thankful for all the work that we have done leading into this. And now we continue the conversation around shifting and modifying, not just to have schools open. We have done that successfully, but now about it is a continued conversation within each of our 3 instructional options about providing meaningful instruction within each of those options. So we've conquered the mammoth hill that we had to climb in order to create and define new systems and procedures. Now we're moving to ensuring that quality instruction is taking place. Very, very proud of the team who came together, our school site principals, everyone involved, all doing everything that they possibly could do to problem solve, to look at the barriers and obstacles that stood in our way, to create a path that allowed us to open our doors yesterday morning. So it's been exhausting 2 mornings, yes. But we are excited. We continue to problem solve. Tomorrow at this time, we'll be pushing home surveys to each of our families in all 3 options, very specific surveys to seek input regarding the quality of education being provided within each of those particular options, as well as other items that are taking place throughout the school day to continue to have almost a grassroots effort of collecting information regarding the quality of support that's being provided, the experience as a whole. There are opportunities to continue to refine what I'm used to in terms of opening in schools. I couldn't be any more impressed, but at the same time, we are seeking really to be perfect. So as soon as we make those shifts and pivots, we begin the conversation about, when do we pivot back? When does transition model end? How long are we staying in these particular models? So we successfully opened schools. We continue to push for the coming weeks to improve the quality of instruction, and then begin the conversation about what is next. When are students going to return? I think a successful opening of school for us is one of the pieces that we're using to evaluate the number of families who are already saying, hey, I want to come back to brick and mortar. Can I come back to brick and mortar? Which is a really good sign that they were hesitant based on the reality in which they chose these options. When they chose these options, we were around 14 to 17% positive on a daily basis around July 4th. That July 10th was the deadline for them to make that selection. Now our 2-week rolling average is under 5%, but yet, people still were hesitant to bring them back based on what they're seeing or hearing in regards to the experience. Folks are wanting to come back. So we begin that conversation of how do we roll back into brick and mortar. Right now we're trying to hold true and problem solve through each of the particular options that families have selected to keep them within those particular options. Because it is a puzzle that has been put together. So movement, obviously, we will continue to be flexible, and the design itself has a piece of flexibility built into the model, but it was built with the intention of the 9-week commitment as well as the 18-week commitment. And just in terms of, looking down the road, those are big shifts because of the number of kids within each of those particular models. So it really would be another opening of schools, asking students to refamiliarize themselves with the policies, the procedures, the safety expectations, going into the second 9 weeks and going into the second semester. So still a lot of work to be done as it relates to responding to COVID, but very, very satisfied with the effort and response. Yesterday, our IT team, just checking on Mr. McDonald and his team on a daily basis, they responded to 957 calls yesterday. The frequency of calls today was significantly less, so we're problem solving as we move through. We had the tech depot was open today, and it was a very busy line, still distributing and problem solving around the technology. So What we've done over the course of 2 weeks is very, very impressive, and we will continue to problem solve to make sure that this is quality instruction within each of these 3 options. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I think Dr. Schiff had a question.
Yeah, thank you, actually, for addressing that, because that's what my question was about, is as first off, huge kudos and props to everybody in the district who got us up and going yesterday, because everybody did an amazing job. Dr. Moore called me at, 4 or something, and my first thing was like, oh no, please tell me it's not bad news. But we did a great job, and I know that as we do such a good job, and because our plans are so good, we are having a bit of that shakeout process, where parents who were initially nervous now want to go back face to face. And I think what is sometimes hard to see is exactly as you said, it's a puzzle that's been put together very carefully. So planning for the number of students who are in classrooms has been done, almost mathematically, to make sure that we have the right amount of space, and we have the right amount of teachers, and we have the right amount of desks. And as parents start to experience what they chose and want to make a different decision, up until what point kind of will we allow that? Because we're going to run out of capacity for the way that we've planned. Is there a way that we will be able to best meet everybody's needs, but also understand that every time a new student comes back into the education environment, we have to redo the puzzle, and teachers have to, and administrators have to redo all of the opening requirements that the students who were present have now heard about how to be in schools. And can you speak a little bit to that so that parents have a good sense of it as they're sorting out their lives and their kids this week?
Absolutely. Through the chair, it was, as you said, a puzzle that was put together and asking individual families to make a selection based on their level of comfort in terms of COVID and the exposure of COVID, as well as the instructional model that best suited their needs, looking at the 2 different models in which we have created. And based on those models, we built our schedules. Attached to those always was the conversation of a 9-week commitment. We called transitional, which no one else, a number of districts are replicating that exact model. We called it transitional because we wanted to keep it to the forefront. It is a transition. The goal is I want to transition back into the regular school at a 9-week point. We will continue to problem solve with parents around the models that they selected. They select them as, with a level of intentionality. What can we do to solve that particular model, given the reality? This is a particular balance. As we move over the course of the next several weeks, we are now beginning to assess children. We'll see grades coming in the next couple of weeks. That is the first conversation to have. Your child is not being successful, and that's a conversation in which we lead as well parents would lead. Let's problem solve around moving from virtual to transitional, or transitional back into the regular school. There are schools that have a great deal, some have more flexibility than others. So in complete transparency, that allows us to be more flexible in other schools. And we have to honor the commitment that we've made to parents who've chosen the brick and mortar. And we were saying we will do absolutely everything that we can to maximize social distancing within those particular spaces. And when we begin to allow students to return, in some ways we're not being fair to those who are in a brick and mortar, both to those families as well as the teachers themselves, because we'll have a regular class size. In some schools, social distancing looks absolutely amazing. In other schools, the class size is still not at class size, but yet it is larger than in other schools. So it really is a class-by-class case basis. We'll be putting together a plan that will push out so parents will know the amount of time that they'll have to return to a particular option. I think when you look at the first exchange or return, we're just 7 weeks away, because the first 2 weeks was planning. that planning, that additional planning time was key to our success in opening schools. But we're already, this is in theory, the third week of our first 9 weeks of school. So the opportunity to really push children back into the traditional setting, which would reset that puzzle. We've become pretty proficient at building this particular puzzle, and we'll be able to do it significantly quicker, but it would require opportunities for families to identify the return date as we begin to pull away from transitional and pull students back in, and then pull teachers back into the brick and mortar experience.
So to briefly paraphrase, what I also hear you saying is asking for parents to stick with the model that they have now unless we can see that it's really not working for their children, and then we're going to problem solve. We have more flexibility in some places than others, but for all of us to kind of give it our best shot for the moment, so that we can keep this going for 7 weeks, and then we'll work into the next model.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So I have a question. And I sent the email late, but it's come up. What do we have in our policy for those parents that there's a doctor's note that says that their child, based on whatever medical reason, cannot wear the mask? Are we going to deny them riding the bus or coming into class?
Through the chair, no, we're able to work through with those particular families, whether it is a different option or whether it is a face shield. We did buy face shields, an allocation for each particular school to have that flexibility. We've had a small number of cases which we've been able to resolve, each and every single one of those that I'm aware of.
So would the parent need to go to the principal, or what's the process?
Through the chair, principal is always the first response, and then it's been clearly communicated to solve those problems for those parents.
Okay. All right. All right. So that wraps up our presentations. We're going to move into, we do not have any citizen input tonight, so let's see. We're going to move on to the approval of the consent agenda, so I need a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay. Would you like to speak to your motion,
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Mrs. Barrenborg? Okay. All right. So all in favor of the consent?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
4-0. All right. We do not have any items on action. So at this point, we just, we need to move into the superintendent's report.
Through the chair, my report was, I covered that in presentation. Just wanted to provide a quick update regarding the opening of schools. Thank you, madam.
All right. Do we have any school board member matters?
Yes.
Go
Thank you.
ahead.
Just a note to parents, we are aware of some different transportation issues that have gone on the first couple days of school. And I just wanted to ask people to be patient and if they have any concerns about transportation, if they can go directly to, and perhaps Dr. Moore can, to the district liaison to report. And that was Mr. Seymour, Eric Seymour.
Through the chair, thank you, Ms. Justice. That is a really good point. One of the things that we've done as a result of our reorganization is really to create an advocacy office. And we're asking individuals, families, as you have a concern that cannot be resolved at the principal level, or you need support from us to reach out to Mr. Eric Seymour, who oversees our advocacy office. That's information you can find on our webpage. So we're clearly aware of where we have bumps in the road in order to problem solve them, as well as the frequency of problems that we may be having. So I would encourage everyone to look for our advocacy office, direct support, direct connection with principals, the ability and the authority to solve those particular problems. We'll also, throughout our survey, in terms of lunch, in terms of transportation, collecting that information as an additional check and balance in order to ensure that all systems are running at a very high level. This is problem solving, a constant evaluation of our reality to define how we internally can improve and never be satisfied with anything that's not perfect.
Okay.
That's it, thank you.
No, I had a bunch last week, but now I forgot
Okay.
one more.
Mrs. Barrenborg, any wrap-up?
Sure. Just wanted to say I was able to visit 12 campuses in the last 2 days. Has it been only 2 days? I don't know, the last couple of days. And I was thoroughly impressed with how much preparation everybody had done. And I know that they were still waiting on some signage and stickers, and I assume that that's already in place. I'm hoping that that happened. I enjoyed watching Dr. Bacon on his first morning at Osceola. He was wonderful and excited to welcome the children. It seemed like to be a great first day. Of course, there are always going to be hiccups on the first day, but thank you, Dr. Moore, for not only calling this board member a couple of times that day, but also making sure that you did Facebook Live and you continue to communicate, which is really, really important. I think this district has asked for communication, and I think you're providing that. So thank you for also sending out surveys to get more feedback and continue to do so. Thank you.
Dr. Schiff?
Yeah, that just reminded me of a quick thing. I want to also say, again, some of the schools are putting out some amazing opening videos and liftoff videos. They've been incredible. Mr. Simpson's video from Treasure Coast has now been picked up by several news stations. He actually, there was one of them, he did a takeoff on a Vanilla Ice song, which they had Vanilla Ice comment on. It's actually getting a tremendous amount of attention, which is great fun. He did a fabulous job. And I saw a great one opening day from Sebastian High School the other day. So one of the things that I'm noticing in this is that as we move into an online environment, how adept and creative we're getting with the technology. We're pushing out videos, we're pushing out conversations, we're doing things in such a different way that we never expected to be doing. And it's fabulous. You know, people are being so creative with it. So to all of the teams who have put together these amazing videos and opening videos and talk to students, thank you for that, because I absolutely love seeing them. That was it.
All right, so that's all we have? Nothing else, Dr. Moore?
No, ma'am.
That's it. All right, we're going to adjourn at 6:24.